And also, we'll be joined by a woman whose daughter has been in a coma for 27 years, and she has never left her side until today. This will be the first time ever that she has spent a night away from her daughter. She wanted to come here and share her experience. People who come back from comas, please join us.
Tomorrow's so far away. This could be the best time of our lives. Don't worry about it. So turn around and stay a while. This could be the best time.
And also, what goes through a mother's mind when she's told her teen daughter may never wake up from a coma? A look at what's going through this mom's mind as she's leaving her comatose daughter for the first time in 27 years. We'll be right back.
I'm shaken. I'm actually shaken inside. I don't think I talk more than 3 words all the time in the car. My head's still back with her.
The amazing story of a mother who sat by her comatose daughter's side for 27 years. She did get on that airplane. We were even surprised ourselves. She is here. She's going to talk with us in just a couple of minutes.
A promise is a promise, and I know I made it to you. I said to you I won't leave you, but in my heart I'm not leaving you. And I will be back as fast as I can.
My next guest is a very special woman. Kaye's daughter, Edwarda, was the light of her life. But Kaye's life was shattered when Edwarda slipped into a diabetic coma at the age of 16. Now, that was 27 years ago. Since then, Kaye has rarely left her bedside. This is the first time that she's left her daughter for more than just a couple of hours in all those many years. She's here today with her other daughter, Colleen. Please make them feel welcome, everybody. Thanks, Colleen and Kaye. Kaye, I got to tell you, I kept thinking, how's she going to do it? Were you, Colleen? How's she going to get on that plane?
I didn't believe my mom would come. I really didn't. Even when we were walking through the airport, I kept saying to my cousin Pam, my mom's going to turn around and go back. She's going to find a reason not to go. And I'm really, really shocked. I can't believe she came.
How hard is this trip?
Very hard.
Yeah.
But it's for something that has to be done. And I have to tell the story. I have to get more people praying. I have to get more people knowing. When you hear about people in comas, most of the time you hear they give up hope after a year, after 2 years. 3 years is tops, and you don't ever give up hope.
Well, I know you haven't. Your strength is remarkable to me because I know a mother's love knows no limits, but caring for Edwarda is a full-time job. What's your daily life like?
Well, I don't say I get up at a certain time because I feed her every 2 hours, day and night. That's 12 times a day. I turn her every 2 hours, day and night. She gets her medicine every 4 hours. Every 2 hours she gets one different kind of medicine. She gets her blood taken at least 4 times a day, maybe 6 times. She gets 4 or 5 shots a day. And she just needs lots of loving. And then she gets bathed and she needs her little therapy. And because we've given her therapy since the first day she went into intensive care. We have never thought that she wouldn't come out of it. And we were fortunate. We did not get a doctor that said there's no hope. I mean, at the beginning he said, well, I don't know. And I said, you don't know anything. You take care of her physically and God will take care of the rest of her.
You've seen a little bit in the tapes before you met Kaye of the communication she has with her daughter. I want to share with them some videotape from you of you at your home with her, and the way that you have to feed her. Obviously, she can't chew and eat food like the rest of us, but you communicate with her as though she's getting it all. Watch the tape and we'll talk about it next.
How you doing, sweetheart? Does it taste good? Do you taste the carrots in it? The chicken? What are you saying? What do you have to say about this stuff, huh? Would you like to get a good hamburger? I'd like that too. That would be a happy day. a very happy day when we can go out to a fast food place and get a hamburger. I really did not expect 27 years ago to still be tube feeding her now. I expected her to wake up quicker, but I know she's going to wake up this year. This is our year.
It's such a tender relationship. Do you think that she hears you?
Oh, I know she hears me. There's no thinking she hears me. We know she got her hearing back the 4th month she was in the coma. The hearing went first on her. I heard some people say the hearing's the last to go. Hers went first, and the hearing came back first. And the reason we know it came back was there was a person out in the corridor of the hospital who dropped a tray, and Edwarda really jolted her head. She knew. And another thing, when Edwarda went into her coma, her eyes were wide open. They could not shut them. We ended up taping her eyes after the 2nd day, or her eyes would have dried out.
Mm-hmm.
It took a little while for us to be able to open, to take the tape off, and for her to be able to blink. But now she does everything. She's a sweetheart.
You're beautifully positive, wonderfully hopeful. But this is really difficult on your family. I mean, Colleen, your mom has a full-time job, and it's not about you.
It's okay. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Have the two of you ever sat down at her bedside and just cried over?
No. I'm emotional here, but no. Because my sister's just like anybody, you know, she just lays there and she just doesn't move on her own. But she hears everything you say and she understands everything you say. She's just not able to get up and do the things with me that I want her to do.
Kaye, your husband didn't live to see his little girl come back.
No, he didn't. But he is seeing her. He is seeing her. He told Colleen what he would do. And
my dad had said to me before he died, he said, if it takes me dying and going to heaven to find out what's going on up there, I will. And remember one thing, if I don't take your sister with me, there's a reason and she will get well. So to this day, that's what I cling to. I know that if my sister's was not going to get well, then my dad would have had her go to heaven with him. So there's a reason for it. I don't know what it is, and I don't know when, but, you know, I know it will be. And that's just how, you know, it is. Like in my house, it's not that there's a sick person in the house or anything. It's like anybody else's house, noise and people coming and going, just...
Well, it's like anybody else's house, but when we come back, I want the two of you to tell me, your house has come under fire. People have criticized your decision, and there are folks who believe that you should let Edwarda go. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that struggle right after the break. Please stay close.
if you get angry enough at me for being away from you, maybe then you'll wake up and you just call me, honey, and I can come home without even a plane. I'll be able to fly on my own.
Story about Edwarda and their life is detailed in this book called A Promise is a Promise. Is this in bookstores?
It's in bookstores now, yes.
What does that title mean, A Promise is a Promise?
Well, when the first night Edwarda went in the hospital, about 2:30 or so in the morning, I'm not exactly sure of the time right now, but there was a little boy in the next room. I mean, she was in a private room. In the next room, the little boy was crying, and he said to his mother, crying for his mother, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy," and there was no Mommy there. And Edwarda looked at me, and she said to me, "Mommy," and she never called me Mommy, she always called me Mother. She said, "Mommy, you won't leave me, will you?" And I said, "No, honey, I'll never leave you till you get better. And I promise you." And a promise is a promise. And I brought my kids up to know if you say you're going to promise them something, you don't say you're going to promise anything that you're not sure you can do. Otherwise, you say, "I'll try."
That's been a tough promise to keep. Colleen, talk to me about some of the people who haven't understood the choice that you've made as a family.
Well, the house was shot up, and we've had people, there was, we used to have medicine delivered from the drugstore, and we had to call the police because my mother hadn't ordered this medicine from the from the drugstore, and it just happened to be in the mailbox. So I brought it in, and it was from the drugstore that we shopped at. And so my mom had called, and come to find out, he said no, that they hadn't sent it. And what it was there were drugs in the bag, and if my mom would have used it on my sister, it would have made her sick. It was in the same kind of bottles that she should have used, with the labels on them.
Well, is the idea that, are they shooting at the house to try and kill Edwarda?
Yes. There are people, there's no good to be fanatic one way or the other. You can't be fanatic for, you can't be fanatic against. All fanatics are
Fanatics.
a little bit funny, yes.
And Leeza, the pressure to have the organs harvested is great. I was given a list of the different body parts and the organs and the tissues that could be used from David's body, and a guilt trip was placed on me that every day you continue David on life support, these people are dying.
We never had that.
My sister's not on any
We
life
never
support.
She's
had
not
that
on-
in the least.
she's not on life
She's not
support.
on life
They just
support,
feel-
and we have never been asked about donating a thing, not when we were in the hospital, not anywhere, because they know there is nothing in her body. They figured we have gone through enough, and we even went through enough in the first week in the hospital.
Aren't you afraid if there are bullets being aimed at your house? How do you protect her?
Her son almost got killed. He came in the day after Christmas when he was about 10 years old, and he said to me, "Grandma, we were shot up." And I said, "No, you're not, Ricky." He said, "Well, then where did I get all these cuts?" And I looked, and he had glass in his arm. And I came into the living room real fast, and there were three .347 Magnum bullets that had been put through the house. And if we wouldn't have had a solid door on, he was playing behind it, he would have been dead.
See, they just feel they think it's not fair for my mother to keep my sister alive, but she's not on any machine, so what would, in it.
But yet you have tremendous support and love, too, because when
yes.
Edwarda has a birthday, hundreds of people come.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
And we have people come from all over. We had a doctor came from Japan last week that I had never talked to, but he heard about Edwarda, and he was going to New England, and he stopped at our house.
And they all hang around the bed and talk to her and just have a grand old time.
Ricky's friends all come, and they play checkers on her bed. As a matter of fact, the little boy, when he was about 9 years old, he went home to his mother, and he said, "Do you know Edwarda's sick?" And she said, "Edwarda's been sick a long time, Oni." He said, "No, she's sick. Go over and see what you can do." So his mother came running over to see what it was. Edwarda had a cold. She was sick because she had a cold. No one comes into my house considers Edwarda sick.
Leeza,
Isn't it a remarkable story? I'm sorry, I've got to go to a couple of commercials right now, and I'd like to give you a chance to ask questions with these fascinating coma stories. We'll be right back. Questions from the audience. Is this one for Kaye?
Yes. What is your daughter's medical condition now?
Pardon me, honey?
What is your daughter's medical condition now?
Well, honey, I'll be honest, we don't worry too much about the medical condition. But she's in what they call the 9th stage of a coma. I'm sure you've been operated on. And when you're coming out of the ether, how you can hear what's going on and but you can't break through the curtain. Well, we're praying this is the year she breaks through the curtain, because we know she understands. Because when the football games comes on, she's good. Whenever Colleen talks to her, she does. Now, I won't let anyone cry in the room. And when Wayne Dyer, who wrote that book, comes to my house, she really reacts with him. And she hasn't known him that long. She's only known him since March.
You know what I think is interesting is Colleen, when your sister first went into the coma, you thought she was faking it.
Yeah, I really did. I thought when people are in the hospital, they're sick. And when she came home, I thought she'd be okay. And when she wasn't waking up, when she wasn't moving around and talking, I thought she's afraid that if she wakes up, they're going to put her back in the hospital because of the diabetes. So I thought she was playing possum. So I would shake her and tell her, get up, tell me. I won't tell Mom and Dad. It'll be our secret, but you can talk to me. And that's honestly what I believed.
And you were a little thing at the time. How old were you?
I was 15 when she went in the coma.
Yeah. I want you to meet Dr. Samuel Biggers. Could you stand and help us out a little bit, please? This gentleman is the vice chairman of the Department of Neuroscience and Epilepsy Center at King Drew Medical Center here in Los Angeles. He has treated several coma patients. It seems like these stories are all over the place. Is it just a big medical question mark? What do we really know?
Well, coma is a very commonplace occurrence. In fact, is in any major hospital at any given day, there are a series of patients in coma or coming out or going into comas. So it's a very, very common point where various diseases and conditions affect the brain in such a way that the brain essentially turns off, and it turns off in the form of a coma. If we say that consciousness, by our definition, is the wakeful state where you are aware of self and of environment, aware of yourself and of your environment, then coma is the flip side of that. Coma is the dark side of that, if you will, where we are not in a state of wakefulness and we are unaware of ourselves or our environment. Now,
can I interrupt you and pardon me? What is the longest length of time that someone has been in a coma and has come out of it? I mean, would this be unusual if Edwarda wakes up?
Certainly it would be unusual, but you learn after some years in practicing medicine not to discount any possibility.
That's what we wanted to hear. That's fascinating. We'll get back to you. Where are the questions out here? Yes.
I would like to know if Janet would ever be able to have kids again.
Pardon me?
Are you able to have children?
No, not anymore. Actually, after I had my child, they were gonna do, I was bleeding, and then they have to do a hysterectomy, which I disagreed. And then from the hysterectomy, I slip into a coma.
And you have 3 wonderful kids.
Yes, I have 3 wonderful.
Excuse me. We're going to take a couple of minutes. We'll be right back with you. I've got 20 seconds, and Kaye, I know that you can do it in time. I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay, that's good. I'd like everyone to know that this book, A Promise is a Promise, is in all the bookstores, but mostly that Wayne Dyer, who wrote the book, is getting absolutely nothing from it. Hay House, that published the book, is getting absolutely nothing for it. The proceeds go to Edwarda O'Bara's fund. And if anyone would like to ask me any questions at all, Lisa, I know, is going to put a address up. Write to me. I'm glad to answer. I'll answer any question. I've answered.
You are an amazing lady. You are a firecracker. We send you home with our best wishes for Edwarda. Travel safely, and thank you very, very much to all of our guests today. And of course, as always, thanks to you. Our information line, we'll put it up on the screen for you right now. If you'd like to help, we'll tell you how. See you later. Bye for now. Yep, questions?